All right, I'm gonna share with you guys two features that were new as of last year. I'll just share my screen. Okay, Kelly, can you see my SciNote screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the first thing I want to recap on is task sharing. And so this is our version of um, allowing SciNote users to share their protocols and their associated results with people that may not be SciNote members. So I'll show you how to do that. So you can navigate to settings and then teams and then your team of interest. And there's this little button here that's called enable task sharing. You can just toggle this on. And when you navigate to a task, you've populated it with your different steps, you've added results to it. Let's say at any point you want someone to have a look at this and give you their opinion, or you want to share it with them. What you can do is you can click the share button here and enable task sharing. You can then copy this link and send it to the person you're interested in. And when they open that link, they will be able to view the task. They won't be able to make any edits or anything. They'll just be able to look through the information and look at the associated results. And, it's another way to collaborate using SciNote. And when you go back to the task, if you're done sharing that task with them, you can just turn it off and deactivate that link. And that link will then break. So they'll no longer be able to access it. So this is just a way to collaborate with people either outside of your organization or maybe, with someone who doesn't have access to SciNote and you just want to show them what's going on. So that's one thing that was new last year. Another thing that was new was
Sharma,
that
can I pause one moment? I want to mention
yeah,
something with the task sharing. The
yeah, of
nice thing
course.
too with the task sharing is it does update in real time. So if you do make changes and you don't have to reshare a link with them, when they re-access that link, it's going to have those updates that you've added there. So that's also quite nice. All right, you can go back now to your notifications.
Okay, so the second thing that was released, like, was it in December last year, was the notification center. So now all you have to do is navigate to your profile and then preferences, and you'll be able to see a list of different notification types that you can receive either in-app or email. And you can toggle these on and off based on your preferences. And this is really beneficial for people in different roles. Like for instance, if you're a person in a supervisory position and your signature may be requested, you might not be someone who is signing into SciNote day in and day out. So you might prefer getting an email about it. Or for instance, if you're a lab manager or someone responsible for ordering reagents and items into the lab, you may be really keen on having your low stock reminder and your date reminder receivable in the form of an email so you don't miss anything and then slow things down, and so on and so forth. So this is there for every SciNote member's account, and they can play with these as they see fit. The in-app notifications, of course, you'll receive in this little bell icon, and the emails will be sent straight to your email by SciNote Assistant.
Now, a question I know I get a lot with the notifications, especially with the stock management, is who's receiving the low stock reminders. And that's going to essentially be whoever has the email and in-app notifications. It's not going to go to a specific person or a specific role. Everyone on the team, if they have it set up to receive those low stock reminders as an email, everybody in that team will receive that email. So it's not necessarily the person who added the item. It's just going to be who wants to receive those notifications.
Yeah.
Yes, but I was very excited when the notification revamp came out because the granularity in what you're receiving is, I say, strides compared to what it was before.
Definitely. Okay, will I stop sharing and you can
Yeah.
share a couple more features?
Of course. All right. So let me share my screen now. And are you seeing what I'm seeing, Shama?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So what I want to first go over is within our inventory, we have created a stock consumption export. So if you have the stock management feature, you know that, let's go into my perennial plants here. You know that you can create stock, you can assign it to a task, consume it, and then it'll automatically update in your inventory. You can create those low stock reminders, you can create the date reminders if needed, maybe for expiration, maybe for when you need to, for instance, my perennial plants, when we need to plant things or pull things out. And then previously you would just, like Sharma said, would just get a notification here, and then you can now receive those emails or in-app notifications. But we can take it even a step further now, and you can select the items that you would like to see, go to export here and click on consumption. What it's going to do is it's going to email you a CSV of the consumption report for those items. So let me pull up my consumption report. To show you what it looks like. Here I chose all of the items in my inventory, and I can see where it was consumed. So maybe it was consumed in a task or an inventory, what items were consumed, the item ID that's associated with it, how much was consumed. We can even go to the consumed amount unit. If I have this units, for instance, I had bulbs or seeds, when things were added and how much. We can even go back to when they consumed it, where they consumed it, so on and so forth. The nice thing about this is that if you have a very expensive item that you are doing trials on, you can kind of keep a track on which projects are costing you a lot more money. If you're using a lot of item C or that cell type that you know is very expensive, and that one's being used a lot more than cell B, which is significantly cheaper, maybe you don't want to focus on that project because it's causing your company a lot more money, and you might not be seeing the results that you're looking for. Even so, this can be kind of used as a user management. Say, for instance, we have a user, I'm going to just say Sam, and Sam ends up costing a lot of money for your company because they're constantly dropping things, or they're overusing items, or they're just being a little careless on the consumption of it. You can keep track of that to see where they're using these items and how they're using those items. So that way you can kind of maybe need to retrain them, or maybe you need to just kind of have a little bit more of a conversation about the importance of using these items, or yeah. So that's our stock consumption, which, like I said, it is exported as a CSV. So if you even want to import it to somewhere else where you keep track of this information, you can do so. Let me go back into my SciNote now. Right. So also within the inventories, we have added a new feature in our task. So let me go to a project here. I'm going to go to my templates. And I'm going to just get myself to a task here. We have added a more insert content here. And what we've added here is our new molecular sequencing tool. Give it a moment because I am screen sharing. It's going to be a lot slower. So this has been a new feature that was added a little, I'll say a few months ago. It is an add-on, so if you are interested in trialing this to see if this would fit your team's unique needs, let us know. Reach out to premium support, reach out to your designated customer success manager, and we can set up that free trial for you so that way you can play around with it and even give us our feedback. Because this is a tool that we have integrated with us, and it's not like ChemDraw where it is with ChemDraw, and we can take that feedback so that way we can continue to improve this tool as we see is needed based off of, like I said, the feedback that we are receiving. So I'm going to save that there. And then it's added to your steps here. Now we've had a lot of, I'll say, a lot of changes that happened within last year. And we're going to be having a lot of changes that are happening this year as well. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we did have a new change or a new addition to our inventories that happened last month, and that is our item relationships. So let me go into my colony management. Right now, everyone has this on their instance as a free trial, so I highly recommend you check it out. Previously, we created a workaround, which a lot of you have used, and that was creating parent-child relationships using hashtags, where, for instance, here, the species 9984, the sire was 8335, we hashtagged it, and then we hashtagged the dam. And you could click on it, and you would be able to see the information on that parent. Now, you're going to go into your manage columns, and this relationship column is going to be turned off. It's going to have that eyeball shut. What you're going to do is turn it on, and then I'm going to teach you how to set up those relationships. So what you would have here is it would end up being 0 with 0. We can click on it here, scroll down, and we see our relationships that I've already added here. I can see that 8334 is a parent and 7894 is a child. I can click add, choose an inventory. It doesn't have to be in the same inventory. So that's nice if you, especially if you have tissues and that you would like to connect back to the origin. So I'm just going to choose chemicals right now. I can choose the item name and then choose if I want it to be a parent or child. The nice thing is once I click add, not only did it add it here as a child, but when I go to this item here, it's going to automatically be added as a parent back. So you're not doing the work where you're making sure that I add all the parents and then I add all the children. Once you make that connection once, it's going to add that connection to the other item. So I highly encourage you to check it out and give us some feedback. Tell us what you like about the new feature and tell us maybe what you don't like or what you want to see to be added. Because as I've probably been mentioning a lot, your feedback does drive how SciNote is going to move in the future. All right. Any other questions there? If not, I'm going to talk about one other feature that we had. I think we mentioned in our previous webinar, but I do like to kind of go over it because I find it a time saver. All right, that's going to be our protocol parser. So let me go into our protocols here. As you know, this year, we've also created versioning for our protocol templates. What we have now is our protocol parser. And that's a way for you to import docx files directly into your SciNote to create a template with it. Previously, you might have had to copy and pasted or started things from scratch, and it caused, wasted a lot of your time. We're here to save time. So what I'm going to do is first, you're going to have to be an org admin to turn it on. It's there for everybody, but the org admin is going to have to make sure that it is turned on. So I'm going to go to my settings and organizations. Here now, if I scroll down, I have to turn on AI learning. Something about AI learning. We're not taking the information inside your protocol. We're not storing it. We're not, all we're looking at is the way you structure your protocol. There are many different ways just like we have the professional custom development, because there's many different ways you guys are working. There's many different ways you also set up your protocols. So what we do with the AI learning is that we're looking on how these are all structured. And then we're improving this feature so that way, no matter how you structure your protocol down the line, even if you structured it in the craziest way possible, it's going to be able to read that and then turn it into a SciNote template. So you're going to have to turn on the AI learning, and then let's go to our protocol. Here now, I'm going to click import, and I'm going to click MS Word docx. It says beta, like I said, because it is constantly improving based off of the different structures that it's receiving. And it has to also be a docx file, but from what I know, taking a doc to a docx file is relatively simple. Now we'll click on that, and I'm going to choose this protocol here. Once I click import, it's going to let me know that it's either been successfully or it might take a moment depending. And then let's pull that one up there. I will click on my draft, and I can see that it automatically uploaded all of the information in that file into SciNote. So it saved me some time. Now, worst case scenario, I'll say, is that you uploaded it, and because your template, it was a little bit different or a little bit structured differently, and SciNote might have moved things around. Have no fear, you can reorganize it, and then that's going to continue to make SciNote smarter. So that way it knows how you have it structured here is how you're going to want it structured once you edit it and then save it. And because we do have the versioning, once you're finished with this, we will click publish. Keep in mind that once you publish it, whatever you have here as the title will not be able to be changed afterwards. So if I want to do DNA extraction, and maybe I just want to use a P for plants, once I click publish, I can add revision notes. Let me change that. Okay. I'll click publish. I can add revision notes here. It's not needed, but it helps you if you ever want to go back to see what you changed. And then I'll click publish. To create some changes in the future, just go to create new draft, and now you can make some edits. Now, talking back or full circle, when it comes to custom permissions, we do have permissions that come along with the protocol templates. Owners can make edits and create different new drafts, but owners are going to be the only people who can publish a protocol template. We also have, let's just add a different user here, users can make drafts, but they're not going to be able to publish the new version. And then the viewer can use the protocol template, but they cannot make edits or they cannot save, but they can upload this to the tasks. So if you're interested in maybe custom roles when it comes to protocol templates, that's something we can also talk about. So that's with our protocol parser. As I will say that we do have an article that gives you a foolproof template that if you want to make sure that your protocol is set up in a way that once you upload it, it's going to make sure that there's no errors. Like I said, a foolproof template in our knowledge base. And all you have to do, I would say, search is protocol parser and click on that article and go scroll down towards the bottom. There'll be a template that you can download. And if you want to just copy and paste from word to word, you could do so, or just see how things are structured to change your files before uploading it. But even if you don't follow that structure, you can continue to upload your protocols here. All right. So any questions? I know we've covered a lot so far today. All right. So what we're going to do is, I know there's only just 10 minutes left, so I want to just allow this time for any other questions that you might have. If you don't have any questions, I'll say enjoy the rest of your Thursday and enjoy your weekend coming up. But we're going to be here for the next, we'll say, few minutes or 10 minutes to allow you to ask some more specific questions if you would like, or drop things into the chat. Or even if you want to share some feedback, we are always accepting feedback. So we're going to be here, and feel free to let us know your thoughts or continue about your day. I'm going to stop sharing here. Although, like I said, if you have questions that come up, we can always come back to sharing. So Sharma, do you have any, I'll say, feedback that you have so far with some of these features that people are really liking, or what they like to use, how they like to use these features that we've kind of gone over today?
I think what I talk about on an almost daily basis is the user permissions. I think it takes people a minute to understand that you can control permissions at every single stage in SciNote. And you can really limit access at every stage. You can make sure that people have viewing access, but not editing access, and so on. And I think that's a little bit hard to get around, but I think it works really well for groups to work off of same projects and same teams to keep everything in the same place, just because it's the people in the more admin or like leadership capacity that keep track of permissions. So that's something I talk about all the time. And I think the notification center is getting a lot of attention as well, just because, again, it just lets people acknowledge their own job roles and lets them do their job better, really, in the lab. Because, you have PIs that have to sign off on things, or heads of lab groups that you need to sign off on things. They're not necessarily using SciNote day in and day out to execute their work. They're just checking in and seeing that everything is going okay. So I think that works really well. And the inventories are my favorite part. So
They
I
are mine too.
yeah, like I really can see so much advantage in relationships and stock management. I think it just increases traceability so much, to be able to identify even something like how you created a buffer. Like if you created a buffer out of two or three different reagents, you can tag those reagents as parents. If you went on to use that buffer in, say, like a PCR mixture or something like that, you can tag that master mix as the child and the aliquots as children. You can really connect so many items together, and that way you leave like no room for ambiguity as to what was used for each mixture and each preparation and where it came from. So I think that is going to have massive benefits going forward.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm currently working on a video to share with my users in my monthly newsletter regarding that same exact use case.
Yeah,
Because I had an old one that I used to share, but now that was more of a harder and a workaround, and now we have more of an easier, seamless way.
yeah, absolutely.
What I can do is I'm going to share my screen, because you said about user permissions, and something I think that probably you share a lot, but people don't notice or realize is, like Shama said, that permissions can really tailor your work. And if I am, let's go back to my project here real quick. And I have my project members. I have some people as users. I can change their permissions at every level. So I'm at my experiment level. If I do my three dots and access, I can change now this user to just the technician here, or just the viewer for the experiment. So that way they can't create any more experiments.
Yeah. Like they get to be a part of the project, but they don't get to like, do anything of consequence, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even down, like for the task, I can go in here and go to my access. And maybe now, even though I have Kelli M as a viewer of the experiment, maybe I want them just as a technician for the task. So that way they're not creating things, or they're just completing things. The same thing can then go with your custom permissions downstream. So if you have a viewer signer, you might have them as a user up top, but only on the task, they might be viewer signer.
Yeah. Yeah, the gist is just that they need to be, like, all the members involved in any capacity need to be a part of the project. And then their roles can be adjusted further down the line. Not everyone needs to have the same role. I think that works really well. I think the technician role is quite a useful one as well, because so many of our customers work in validated environments and compliant environments. So for those of you who don't know, like a validated or a technician role is can be assigned to a person who is able to execute all the protocol steps. So they're able to get to this task stage that you see on the screen, and they're able to tick off all the steps in a protocol. They're able to comment on any different stage, like on the right-hand side, they're able to, at someone, and they're also able to attach any kind of relevant results in the results tab. However, they're not able to edit any of the protocol steps. So this works really well in case of like SOP execution, or maybe the person creating the protocol is different to the person executing it and they want it to be done in a precise manner. It just limits the flexibility around instruction. And I think that works really, really well.
I go in here and kind of show. Hopefully it has me set down as technician here now. It does. So yeah, I can't make edits, but I can complete.
Yeah, but if you wanted to comment at me, for example, and you wanted me to just confirm something for you, oh, I don't think I'm a part of that project, Kelly.
You're not, yeah.
I'm
That's so
not.
as soon as I started doing it. But if
Yeah.
I one of my other users here, I can add them
Yeah, and
and
you could ask them to review a step or confirm the step or something like that, and
works.
I think that works really well because I think it's all too easy to kind of freestyle in the lab when you're at the bench. So it just sort of limits that in a way.
Yeah, so what I did here was just because I'm a technician and I can't make edits, I tagged the person who maybe is above me, the user that can make edits, and I asked them, and they'll get a notification or an email if they have it set up, and then they could go in, check it out, make those edits if needed.
Yeah, like if you have like a QA team in-house, or something like that, or if like SOPs have been put through the ringer and you've come up with a final version of it and you want everyone to follow that same version, you can limit people from modifying it, which I think is great again for traceability and reusability of protocols. So that's really beneficial.
Especially because even though with protocol templates, you might have the latest version. Once they upload it, people can make edits to that version afterwards. But if you don't want them to, make them a technician. Then
Yeah.
they can't. They can
Yeah.
complete it, but they can't make those changes to the protocol, the SOP that is the latest version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right. So there hasn't been any questions, and I'm sure you guys are all enjoying our conversation. But what I'm going to say now is that go enjoy your Thursday and reach out to us at premiumsupport@scinote.net or your CSM personally to ask any questions that you might have, and we would be happy to help you. I know somebody reached out regarding updating the slides so that way they can share it. So we'll get those slides sent to you as well. And what I'm going to say is thank you for joining us. Enjoy, and we'll talk with you all soon.